Today I'm going to be doing a tabletop review of the Magpul Armorer's wrench, and I'm also going to do some testing of it in a limited fashion. I actually don't have anything that needs to be built, but I'm going to test the fitment on a upper receiver and a lower receiver to check clearances and see how well this tool lines up to castle nuts and barrel nuts and so on. This isn't a brand new item. This is not a brand new item from Magpul. It's been out for a little while. I was going to pick one up right when they came out, but I was holding off, waiting to get a better deal. I finally picked this up for about $60. That's a lot to pay for this type of tool compared to other tools that are out on the market. But I think whether or not I think it's worth even $60, I can't say that right now. After the video's over, I might be able to say yay or nay on the $60 expenditure. According to Magpul, this is American made, and it's made with US steel. I guess that's better than Chinese steel. It's heat treated steel construction with a manganese phosphate finish. It provides you the utility of functioning as a USGI barrel nut wrench. It is a free float tube barrel nut wrench. It has a 1/2-inch torque wrench breaker bar interface, an armorer's hammer, rifle length or entry length receiver extension wrench. That's for like the actual AR-15 rifle receiver extension. It provides you the capabilities to use on a USGI castle nut. They also claim that it is usable with aftermarket end plates such as the ASAP and ASAP QD. The ASAP QD hasn't really posed a problem with any castle nut wrenches I've personally tested. The Magpul ASAP, the original one that had the little metal link on the bottom of it that swiveled around, that one was problematic, and most castle nut wrenches would not work with that one. I guess that would be an ASAP Gen 1, and then the ASAP QD would be a Gen 2. The wrench also has a 3/4-inch wrench for most flash hiders and muzzle brakes. And there's USGI torque specifications stamped on the reverse side. It has a built-in bottle opener, which I think is kind of a pointless feature to add to something like this, but that's just my 2 cents. The weight of this is 1.1 pounds. The length is 11.7 inches, and the handle thickness is 0.35 inches. So those are the specs off of Magpul's website. This is the packaging that it ships in. Nothing new there. Pretty similar to most Magpul products. Ships in a plastic bag. And with that out, okay, so let's see my initial impressions. The manganese phosphate finish almost feels sticky. Very grippy finish. Magpul logo, obviously. It appears to be a very well-made tool. These must be the armorer's hammer. I guess you could use that as a hammer, or maybe this is a surface for you to hammer on. Torque wrench would go here. This would be for the AR-15 rifle receiver extension or the buffer tube. This would be for the flash hider, and this is your castle nut. Torque wrench, and then of course your barrel nut. This looks like it is compatible with several different types of barrel nuts, as well as the ones that require the pins. One of the things when I was researching this that I couldn't find was actually pictures of the rear or the back side of it showing what specifications were on here. See if we can capture that. Barrel nut torque 30 to 80 foot-pounds, castle nut torque 40 foot-pounds, flash hider torque 30 foot-pounds. Everything I see on here is definitely usable. I'm still questioning the logic in putting a bottle opener on there, but you know, I don't drink beer, so I don't have a need for a bottle opener. Some other type of functional tool accessory would have been nice, but you know, it is what it is. Okay, well, the finish, the construction, everything I see here appears to be top-notch, which pretty much is what I expected to see from Magpul. They don't release anything unless they've put you know, a lot of quality craftsmanship into it. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to move the camera over to my workbench, and we're going to take a look. I'm going to take apart one of my rifles, and we're just going to kind of test fit some of this to see if there's any design flaws that I can come up with, or any fitment issues. I'm not going to be loosening or tightening anything on my existing rifle. I'm just going to be testing the wrench for proper fitment. Okay, I have my completed upper receiver here in my bench vise. With the gas tube installed, though, I can't really do much with the barrel nut. But what I have done is, one of the things you've heard me mention before is clearance issues using torque wrenches with these gigantic heads. Some tools have the half-inch hole opening so close to the end here that you know, using a torque wrench with a large head like this actually isn't really feasible, and I'll show that in a couple of minutes with some of the other tools I have. With this one, there really isn't going to be any type of clearance issues. So you can get your torque wrench lined up with this wrench and get it on your barrel nut and go ahead and remove it or tighten it. I can't really fit this on here with the gas tube, but I was looking at it off camera, and everything appears to line up and function as it's supposed to. So they've obviously taken into consideration different types of torque wrenches that people have at home, and they've moved this far enough back to where it's not causing interference issues. As for interference issues, for example, this is a USGI castle nut wrench, and I like these. These are what's issued to the U.S. military, but they're really not designed to work. Well, let's see. Excuse me, it's not this one. This is a USGI barrel nut wrench, and it's also designed to do the rifle extension and your flash hider. The placement of this one is problematic using these big heads. As you can see, if I put that on there, I can't really use this for flash hiders. It's actually in the way. And they obviously were more concerned about having clearances for using your barrel nut with these torque wrenches. So this is actually kind of a flawed design. This other one, this castle nut, not so much, but I'll talk about that later. Like I mentioned, I've kind of checked on this. There's no issues there. Clearance-wise, the flash hider, basically we slide this over and slide it down. It will work as advertised, and of course the torque wrench would be up here somewhere where the half-inch opening is, and we'd be able to get our 30 foot-pounds of torque. on this. So the fitment on the muzzle device and the barrel nut, from what I can see so far, is good, and we've got decent clearance here for your torque wrench. So far so good. I'm going to transition over to the lower receiver and we'll check on the castle nut. Okay, similar to the USGI castle nut, the Magpul needs to be brought over the actual buffer tube in a specific orientation, and then it can be rotated once it's past this extension right here. It can be rotated into place. And while playing around with this off camera, it is a good fit from what I can see. Obviously I can't do complete testing here. I have a Magpul paraclip on here that I'm too lazy to remove right now, so but I am test fitting the tool. All of the nubs on the castle nut line up to where they're supposed to. Nice solid fit against the castle nut. This end plate that's on here is a Magpul ASAP QD, the second generation. There are no clearance issues with that. I've already checked it. Of course, if you happen to have a paraclip on here like I do, you'd need to remove that if you wanted to work on this. Other than that, very good fit. Okay, I don't have a AR-15 rifle extension, so I can't test the fitment of that, and of course I don't have any beer down here, so I can't tell you if the beer cap removal tool works. I'm assuming it does. I am so far quite impressed with this tool compared to, let's see, I have another tool aside from the mil-spec or the USGI ones I showed you. I have a Gun Tech, and you might have seen me use this on some other gun builds. It has a similar end to the Magpul, where you can use the different types of barrel nuts on this. It has the 1/2 inch for the torque drive, and it has the AR-15, I believe that's for the AR-15 rifle buffer tube, and that's for the flash hiders. This tool is relatively inexpensive. I think I picked this up for $30 or $35, give or take. Never quite figured out what those 3 holes were for. This tool, though, down here for working on the castle nut is a bad design. There's only one little nub right there to grasp on to your castle nut, sort of like so. The problem is this has a tendency to move around, and it's very easy to get off. And with this tool, it ends up really marring up these little cuts in the castle nut. This is just not a good design for removing the castle nut. So that's the big drawback with this. I'm not sure exactly. That looks like a flat-bladed screwdriver for something, another function of this tool. Other than that, I mean, this was a nice tool, but they really dropped the ball with the castle nut design on this. So I rarely use this tool. I've been using the USGI tools, but I believe now this Magpul is going to become the one and only tool in my Armorer's box. And for $60, I think this is a good buy. At least that's the best price I've been able to find it for. Most places seem to have it around $70, and I managed to find one for $60. Happy with the buy so far. Next rifle build that I do, I will use the Magpul wrench for doing the build, and we'll actually see it being used in one of those videos. But unfortunately, I don't have anything even to build right now, no lowers or anything like that. So I'm going to wrap this video up on the Magpul Armorer's tool. So far I give it 2 thumbs up, and I give it 1 thumb up for value at $60. I'd really like it if it was, I'd like it even better if it was about $40. But again, it's at least all of the features of this tool are usable, unlike some of the other tools on the market. So good tool, good buy, and that's all I have to say about the tool right now. So I'll wrap this video up.